just received this Gulf Pinball Bally Rectifier board in the mail today, and we're going to go ahead and install this board. So this board is going to be replacing the old board from my Bally Kiss pinball machine that I'm working on. And this rectifier board is there's a couple different types. This one has the screw terminals. The other one, actually, you have to direct solder on the back of the board like the original one, and I do not like that design. So this is not going to be an easy task, really. We're going to have to be very careful. We're going to have to make sure that we get these wires correct. So all these terminals are labeled really nice here with an E number that corresponds to the E number on the original board. So here comes the issue. We have to trace each one of these wires from the back of the board to the solder point, flip the board over, and then try to see what the E number is on that particular solder point. So we're going to do this one at a time. I'm going to cut it right at the base of the joint. We're going to pull that wire out. I'm going to put a piece of tape on here, and I'm going to label it with that E number. But I'm also going to go one step further, and we're going to trace this wire back to the lug on the transformer, and we're also going to label it for the lug of the transformer. So that way we have double protection here in case we mess up and we get one wrong. There is a nice chart that they give you with this new board here, and it talks about the actual transformer lug numbers. It does have wire color gauge, but it does actually talk about in the instructions here that these colors could possibly be incorrect, depending on the game, and some games they might have used a different wire or whatever. So you can't really go by that color, so to speak, but it is a nice little guideline there. So we are going to take our time on this and make sure that we get this right. I don't want to have any problems at all. And on this particular board, I mean, the connectors were so shot on this. Instead of replacing all these header pins and replacing the connector, they decided to do some weird funky mod and solder wires onto the back of these header pins, bypass the connector, and tie a bunch of wires together. And I took a look at the schematic and I see what they did and why they did it. I just don't like it. It's ugly. It's kind of like a hack job. I just finished up installing this new rectifier board, and actually it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. It's definitely time consuming, so you definitely have to make sure you take your time to do this. But you can see I labeled every single wire as I pulled them off the board, and I also on the back I had labeled the lug numbers that wire was running to. So after I got done with that, I actually went back and I double checked it with the connections chart that they have over here, and there was only a couple that didn't match up. So I'm going to spin this around here. On my particular board, let's see, E1 was actually tied on to lugs 1 and 3. But according to this chart, it's saying it should be on lugs 5 and 7. My lugs 5 and 7 didn't have any wires at all to them, and they're not tied together. So my E2 is actually on connections 9 and 11. Now on here, it's saying E2 should be connected at 1 and 3, which is where my E1 is. So that was the only discrepancy I had, but I had kept it with the original board because I trusted that better. And if we look here, it says that that's your primary AC hot and your primary neutral, which is also your AC neutral. So even if those wires were flipped, I don't think that would have caused an issue anyway. But to play it safe, I went with the original one. Alright, then there was also one other, not really an issue, just something that you got to look out for. And it says right here, check your manual for proper fuse values. And this is the most popular fuses is what they use in the board. So on mine, which is the Bally Kiss here, the fuses were a little different. Well, one of them was. So on mine, F1 and F5 both are supposed to be 20 amp. On this one, F1 actually had a 10 amp in there. So I took a little piece of tape and I relabeled that, and I put a 20 amp fuse in that spot, just so that it all matched up properly. And actually, overall, this wasn't a bad installation. It was definitely a little time consuming, but overall, it was actually pretty easy to do. I cleaned everything up with some zip ties. One other special note is make sure that you cut back and you get some fresh wire on here, and you tin all of your wires with solder before you actually put them in here, because it's going to hold a lot better into these lugs. And you want to make sure that when you're stripping your wire back that you don't get any insulation inside of here, that you get a solid wire connection when you tighten down your lugs. Other than that, the installation went really well, so I'm going to go plug this into my game and test all the voltages before I actually plug my board sets into it. Now, the nice thing is here is you get plenty of test points up here to check all your voltages. It even lists your voltages at the test point, so it'd be real easy just to double check all your voltages, make sure everything is good to go before you plug in your board sets. So I hope this helps you guys out, and make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for future pinball repair videos.